Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my brand new Infernalist Reaver Army Endgame Guide. And I gotta tell you, this thing is absolutely crushing and you have great survivability because the minions block a lot of the damage. Of course, we are pushing the most endgame fully juiced T15 maps, fighting T20 plus bosses. It is absolutely crushing. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now, I left the modifiers on the screen for a little bit to show you how juiced up this T15 map is. We are using 10 Reavers, 2 Storm Mages, 3 Snipers, a Cleric, and a Loyal Hellhound. So this is probably the build that I have the most variety of minions, but the 10 Skeleton Reavers are our damage dealers. They are spec'd into over 130 multiplicative damage to physical and melee. They are absolute monsters, especially when you get them enraged. Now, for this build, the Snipers are poisoning enemies, and the poison is breaking armor, so the Reavers can just do that much more damage. The Storm Mages are shocking enemies. Shocked enemies take 20% more damage. And then we are spec'd into 2 offerings. We are using Bone Offering and Pain Offering, which also gives a boost to overall damage. And if you have 2 offerings on the screen, your minions also do 40% more damage as well. So pretty synergized build. It feels really, really good. Again, juiced up T15 maps. Yesterday, we had a lot of success. We've been using Reavers over the last 2 days on stream. So if you want to see over 10, 12 hours of content of me using them and making this build, you can see that over on Air and Action RPG on Twitch. But yeah, we've had a lot of success. So for the build, pretty simple. You run around, you spam your Vulnerability Curse. Enfeeble is an aura, so you don't have to worry about that. Here's a good example of a rare enemy on the battlefield, which just gets disintegrated. Second rare enemy dead. It's almost like they're not there. But yeah, you run around, you spam vulnerability, you spam your double offerings, and then when you need added damage, you use your 3 Snipers gas arrow on top of the enemies or bosses, and it just chunks their life down. Pretty simple build, lots of variety of minions. Let me show you the T20 boss on this map. We actually have 2 T20 bosses on this map. This is the Hateful. So as you can see, we are spamming our offerings. I'm using the gas arrow from Snipers when needed. We are cursing both of them with vulnerability. T20. Absolutely eaten alive. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So now let's break down the skills, and we got a lot of them. I'm going to go through them one at a time, starting with Malice. Now, this is the free skill that we get from our Scepter. Not a lot of supports for Malice right now, but we do take is Clarity, which only costs 10 Spirit, and it's going to give us 30% increased mana regen rate. Coming down to Summon Infernal Hound, we are over level 90, so we now have a 6 link, and on here we are taking Meat Shield for more maximum life. We're blowing up ignited enemies with Fury Death. We are maiming enemies, we are blinding enemies, and we are culling strike enemies. Very, very good free minion. We love our Infernal Hound. Moving down to our damage dealers, and these are our Skeleton Reavers. On here, we have gone all in on multiplicative damage. We have Brutality at 35%, we have Heft at 30%, we have Heavy Swing at 35%, and Feeding Frenzy at 30%. That is 130% to multiplicative. You could even get more if you wanted to, if you have a 6 link, or you can go into attack speed. Moving down to our shock minions, which is our Storm Mages, and their whole purpose is to shock enemies. Shocked enemies take 20% more damage. And on here, we are using Conduction for 100% shock chance. We're using Coursing Current so the shocks spread. We're using Stormfire so they don't expire on ignited enemies, and +1 to lightning skills. We have so many minions on this build, we're actually running out of supports. We are using double pain offering, or double offerings right now, Pain and Bone. For Pain Offering, we are using Font of Rage to rage our minions. We're using Area of Effect, we're using Skill Duration, and we're taking Elemental Resistance to our minions. For Bone Offering, we're taking Font of Blood, Font of Mana, which is going to give us life and mana regen, and then Execution, or Execute. Very interesting. Execute actually works on Bone Offering. It does not work on Pain Offering. Moving down to Blasphemy. You will notice a green ring around us. That is because we have taken Enfeeble, turned it into an aura, and then we've given it a bigger area of effect and a bigger area of effect. So you don't have to be as close to the enemies. I'm telling you, I'm going to put this on all my minion builds because it is so great for survivability. It's just a bunch of built-in DR. Moving down to our spam curse, which is vulnerability right here. And on this, we have effective curse, 25%. Curses spread, break more armor. And on here, we're taking the spell cascade effect. So that's why you get the 2 rings on the outside. And this is the skill you will be spamming on the enemies. We have 2 other minions on here, skeleton snipers. Skeleton snipers are kind of a newcomer to the physical build. On here, you want your skeleton snipers to be poisoning enemies 50% of the time. Poison applied by supported skills breaks armor to 80% of the poison damage. So if the skeleton snipers are breaking the armor, then the Reavers are just absolutely crushing them on the other end. You have scatter shots, so they shoot more projectiles, and then you're boosting their attack speed. Now, last but not least, summon Skeletal Cleric. I had almost exactly 17 spirit left, which is what it cost for a Skeleton Cleric. So right now we just took one as an added minion. If you don't have enough spirit, you don't need to take your Cleric. You could actually kill the Cleric and kill 1 sniper. But on here we have more cast speed, recovery rate, stays alive after it dies, and +1 to minion skills. Those are the skills. Now let's talk passives. At time of recording, I am level 91, and hopefully by the end of today, we can hit 92. For our ascendancy here, we are, of course, in Witch Infernalist, and the first 2 points you want to put in is get your loyal Hellhound. It ignites all enemies, it's completely free, doesn't cost spirit. You absolutely want your Hellhound. You then want to come down here and get Altered Flesh and make sure that fire resistance is the first resistance you get, because Cold and Lightning is taken 20% as fire. You then want to come down here and get Will, which is going to give you a big boost to your overall spirit based upon having as much life as possible. Now on your 4th ascendancy, you kind of got options. Some people like coming down here and grabbing Gaze, which is going to give you over 400 added mana, would put us over 4,000. But it costs you 25% of your life. You can snag this node for boosting your maximum mana. For me right now, I put it in life and life. I just took the 6% to life, which put us over 2,700, and that's how we got enough spirit to get the summon Cleric. But yeah, those last 2 points, honestly, not a huge deal. Now, when you are looking at the passive tree, let me see if I get it in a way that you can screenshot it. All right, so right there, if you want to take a screenshot, you could see basically the entire tree. Goes as high as up here, Lord of Horrors, as left over here to get this jewel slot, and that is the entire tree. Now, when you are looking at it, you want to start and just go up and snag all the minion nodes. And early on, you want to get as quick to revive your skeletons or your minions as possible. So you then want to come down here and get revive speed. And you want to take the maximum mana. You then want to come to the right and snag these nodes. You gain, you guessed it, minion revive faster. And you're going to get some life and attack speed. You are then going to come up here and snag this node, Relentless Dead, minions revive faster. And then you're going to come straight up and snag this node, which is Lord of Horrors. Minions have 20% reduced reservation cost. Now, this is an end game build guide, which means we are fully spec'd into Mind Over Matter and spec'd into Eldritch Battery. Mind Over Matter means that all damage is taken from your mana before your life, but you have 50% less mana recovery rate. And on Eldritch Battery, it means you no longer have any energy shield, but that energy shield is converted to mana. That's why right now we have 3,600 mana. And again, if we came down here and snagged this node, we would have over 4,000 mana, which just gives you a ton of survivability. Now, some great things on this tree. You need to take Whispers of Doom. This allows you to have 2 curses. This is how we are using Vulnerability and Enfeeble. Right here, 25 to Intelligence as far as attribute points. If you come to the left over here, you've got this awesome cluster, which is minion life, minion resistances, and minion damage. You got lots of jewel slots, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the main jewels that I went after, just because honestly they're really cheap, was mana regen, minion damage, minion resistance. Those are the 4 jewels that I have put in there. And the rest of these nodes are just very solid. Damage recouped as mana, elemental resistance, max resistance, max life, minions regenerate life per second, chaos res, crit, lots of good stuff. But the big ones in here we have covered, and that is the passive tree. So now let's break down the gear. One thing great about skeleton reavers is there's nothing required. You don't got to go get this ring or these boots or this scepter in order to unlock the build. Everything I am using is endgame min-maxed rare items, and they are pretty good items. Right now we have all our resistances maxed. Again, 3,600 mana, 2,700 life. So it is good stuff, but it is not, nothing is required. And we'll go through the items one at a time. Starting with the scepter. On here, you want to look for as high a spirit percent as possible. This scepter has 209, and you want level to minion skills. This is 3. It can go as high as 5. And you will notice that I have mana regen on almost everything. 59% mana regen as well. Helmet, energy shield, max life, max mana, plus the minion skills with resistances. Minion skills can go as high as +2. Focus, I am using a focus. You could choose to use a shield if you want to go into block. On here, we have double energy shield at 355, max mana, int, fire res, and mana regen. For our amulet, we are using max life, max mana, and 50 to spirit with item rarity and damage recouped as mana. Armor, energy shield, max life, spirit, and resistances. This also has a 44% mana regen on it. Ring 1, max life, max mana, int, mana regen. Ring 2, max life, max mana, resistances, mana regen. Boots, movement speed, max life, max mana, triple res. Gloves, energy shield, max life, max mana, resistances. And our belt. Flat armor, max life, max mana, +1 to charm slot, and chaos res. So that is the gear that I'm using. Charms, we don't want to be frozen and we don't want to be stunned. Now, I know a lot of people are going all in on rarity, the rarity meta. I'm not doing that. We have plenty of currency right now. And if you want, of course, you could sprinkle in as much rarity as possible, but that is the gear. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new endgame Reaver Infernalist Witch? Is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything I can do to take this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Of course, only if you think I've earned it. Check out the Discord. We're approaching 4,500 members. We do a game giveaway or merch giveaway every 2 weeks. The current game giveaway is a free copy of Last Epoch. And the best way to support is Patreon. It is linked in the description. I just posted my brand new studio tour. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.